To be frank, we don't feel we should be obligated to deliver the stuff, because we see the customer every day, and we don't want to see any fallout from something we deliver. To a certain extent, we feel personally responsible.
And don't forget, if you think you've been a victim of a scam, the same or a different one, email me, john.cuthill@bbc.co.uk. Now, talking of emails, these days we surround ourselves with technology. There's mobile phones, there's wireless routers, all manner of gizmos and gadgets. But some people in the south think the technology itself is making them ill, and they're taking drastic measures to avoid it, as Mike Powell reports.
You can't avoid it. Mobile technology is everywhere, and though you can't see it, a lot of people believe that electromagnetic radiation from the devices we've come to love could be causing some serious health problems.
People who say that they're affected by this increasing amount of 21st century technology are finding it increasingly difficult to get away from it, especially in a densely populated area such as southern England. So-called Wi-Fi refugees come to spots like this, an isolated area in Hampshire, to try and get away from it all. I've come to meet one of them.
I've been passionate about technology since childhood. I mean, even before teens, sort of 10, 11, I got an electronics kit and then started designing my own circuits. And I remember I designed a rain detector for my mother so she knew when it was raining to get the washing in, etc.
Phil Inkley has become a recluse from society. He travels around southern England in his caravan, trying to avoid technology. As he says, he's an electrosensitive.
All was fine until things started going wireless. The first time I got any symptoms was when my father got a Bluetooth hands-free kit for his vehicle, and he asked me to pair it with his phone. Now, in doing so, when they went into pairing mode, I started getting aching, really uncomfortable aching pain in my heart, and pressure on the temples, and pain on the temples and in the brain.
Phil now lives on the poverty line, making ends meet as a gardener. His symptoms increased when he moved near an army base in Berkshire.
Within a couple of weeks, I was the illest I've ever been in my life. Within days, I was suffering a persistent headache like no headache I'd ever had before. It was absolutely crippling. I was getting tinnitus, kind of a hum and a high-pitched tinnitus that would vary. Getting this aching pain in the heart, and my heart would race and skip, change rhythm. It was like someone was putting cattle prods into my brain and shocking my brain.
Phil's not alone. Headmaster and science teacher Paul Bale thought he knew all about technology, but when severe headaches prompted a trip to his GP, he was surprised to hear what his doctor suggested might be the cause.
The doctor pulled out of his cupboard a computer hub, identical to the one that was in the bedroom at home, and asked me if I got one of these devices, which of course we had, and we were actually living on top of it, especially during the night. It was switched on 24 hours a day, and I should have perhaps realised as an ex-computer teacher the significance of it, because the moment I flicked the switch on the hub and turned the signals off during the night, there was an immediate effect within a short space of time. Within a span of 4 days, the headaches had completely gone.
Professor David Coggan of Southampton University says tests where people wrongly thought they were being exposed to electromagnetic fields led to many reporting health problems. This strongly suggested to him that any ill effects were imagined rather than real.
When we talk specifically about electrosensitivity, there is evidence that, at least in the large majority of people who suffer from the illness, that this seems to be occurring through psychological mechanisms. But that does not preclude people having physical symptoms and objectively measurable physical changes. The body of evidence has got larger and larger over the years, and we can't say that none of these people is the illness caused by electromagnetic fields because we haven't tested everybody. But we can certainly say that we've tested large numbers of people, and in those large numbers of people it doesn't seem to be caused by the exposure to electromagnetic fields.
About Wi-Fi, whatever it was.
Dennis Henshaw was a professor in physics at Bristol University, specialising in radiation effects on humans. He's convinced people do suffer.
Because of this assumption that this is all in the mind, rather than actually a physiological response, I think the research has gone in the wrong direction. We know about the acute symptoms from geomagnetic storms, which are the same sort of signals you have from Wi-Fi and mobile phones. So why should it come as any surprise that there are also reports of electrosensitivity from these man-made sources?
This GP on the Dorset-Somerset border says he's treating several patients for electrosensitivity and claims that critics are approaching the problem from the wrong angle.
There is a presumption of no harm from all this technology, even though it's very new. For a long time, tobacco was safe. For a long time, asbestos was safe. For a long time, lead in petrol was safe. For a long time, hydrogenated vegetable oils and fats were safe. And I think in 5 years' time we'll look back and say, oh my God, there has been a major problem that we haven't been observing.
In Hampshire, Wi-Fi refugee Phil Inkley wants to know if he's managed to find a spot away from the electromagnetic fog that he claims is blighting his life.
Guy. Phil. Great to meet you.
And there's an unusual physicist on hand who makes a living advising on such matters. Guy Hudson.
First off is pulsed microwave. And reassuringly very, very low signals. You're actually pretty clear on this.
It's one of the best places I've found since I've been a refugee. When levels are at this kind of stage, I won't be symptom free. You know, I'm likely to still have sleeping problems and the tinnitus and head pains at peak times. But generally, you know, I can cope.
Phil's managed to find a sanctuary in the countryside, but in spite of the scientific evidence which suggests no link to health problems, Phil claims the number of Wi-Fi refugees is growing and that those who suffer from the effects need to have the condition recognised.
Many people just very happy to go with the official story, think, oh, we've got a right one here, and that's it, you know, walk away or change the subject, which is really, really isolating as well. And for many people, that's too much. I mean, in the last few months, we've lost 2 more electrosensitives who have committed suicide. And, you know, sorry, it breaks my heart. I know, sorry, excuse me.
Some people will avoid the exposures as far as they can in order to reduce their symptoms. The more you can try to get on with life and not worry about it, the better. But it's easy to say that for me, much harder for somebody who suffers from the illness.
Mike